Alrighty, and we are live. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It has been a crazy week. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to be traveling again starting Friday, so it's been a crazy week. But today we have one of my current clients inside the No Bad Days program, and I want to go ahead and introduce you guys, highlight her success inside, and kind of like just walk through her journey, what's been going on before, and all of that stuff. So, anyways, Jet, if you want to introduce yourself and kind of just what your name, your age, what you do for work, and we'll start there.
So my name is Jet Hurtado. I'm 29. I'm gonna be 30 in a couple months actually.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I work in data entry. I work for Ross at their corporate offices. So yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Do you feel like that job keeps you pretty busy? Because I feel like data takes a long time to track.
Um it does, but the the good thing is that I work remote. Ever since COVID, I've been working remote, and that actually, if I was just working at the office, I probably wouldn't be able to be as active as I am right now. I know I would find a loophole to like make time for it, but yeah, it's pretty time consuming if you're in the office.
For sure. Um, Speaking of like the time and not having to commute, what was your fitness like before starting coaching? Like what was your maybe diet history, your exercise routine? Like what did that all that look like for you?
Um, well, diet history probably started like when I was a freshman in high school.
Mm,
It goes pretty far back.
okay.
It's been kind of like thinking I needed to eat less, working out super hard, and then kind of falling off, not continuing that program I had in my head, and it was just very hard to like upkeep. So I felt like I was always like just well in my head like failing and then having to get back up again.
Yeah, 15 years of kind of being on and off. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that like having the we'll say the start stop cycle happen over and over again?
What was it like? Um
Like I guess my question is what were the thoughts going through your head as the cycle repeated each time?
um I think it was always just like I would stop because I would get lazy.
Mm,
When I got to this point, when I would like weigh myself, that would kind of like knock me back into, okay, we have to like get it back together. But that's why it was so bad because it was never just like doing it. Honestly, I didn't know what was even the healthy way to do it.
yeah.
So I was just very like lost.
Okay. So you mentioned like starting at 15, the dieting. That's at
Mhm.
a pretty young age. What did that start with when you started kind of dieting during that time?
So I was I had just became vegetarian. So it was kind of hard because I just felt like I was like supplementing for everything I was losing. And it was honestly just like all over the place. It was a lot of like small meals, and then right when I would get out of school, I would go to the gym and a lot of running. I would run like miles, like I would try to run miles like every single day. So I think the main thing that was like keeping the weight off was my like intense workouts.
Hmm. Okay, so the one thing that would essentially trigger it, it sounds like, was like stepping on the scale and being like, "What is this? Hell
Mhm.
not!" And then the cycle would kind of start up again.
Yeah, because then my clothes would fit me different, and it was just like it was get dressed like I was like, oh, like I have nothing to wear, like, and then I would see the scale, and but it was always about weight. It was always about the number. It was never like, I think second came to like feeling good and looking good, but
Mhm.
like I wanted to see like the number to go down.
Yeah, I think that's super important because I do feel like a lot of the time we kind of neglect how we feel about just our mood, our energy, our stress levels, and it becomes kind of like what you mentioned. It fucking goes in the back burner because we're like, this is number one. Let me fucking
Yeah,
try to put into my clothes and get the scale to go the way I want it.
yeah, definitely.
What results do you have you gotten so far inside the program?
Um, well, physical results. I
We can go
have
through all of them.
well, I have lost weight. I lost two inches on my waist, my hips, and my thighs.
Nice.
But um mentally, I just have more of like, I have more peace of mind that I'm doing something good for my body. Like I feel just healthy. Like there's, you have that energy all of a sudden. Like you're not like burning out by 3 o'clock and you just like want to lay down after that. And I feel like my mood has changed a lot, and I feel like it's because like I've learned so much and I've been able to like put it into play and like just see like everything I've done, because it was hard. Like in the beginning, just it's very emotional because it's like
Mhm.
it's been down, and then you feel like you're doing it right, and then it's like, no, I'm doing this wrong. And there's just so much learning, and once you like get over all those humps, then it's like, okay, like I know it's not over, like I still have a lot to learn, but look at how far I've come just from like sticking to this. So for my mental health, it's been great.
Yeah, I do love the fact that we kind of very briefly touched on the physical and then the mental was like, boom, all this like laundry list of all these things that have happened,
A
which
lot more.
I feel like it is an underrated part of the journey because it is kind of what you mentioned. I'm sure you felt it at points, super frustrating having the on, off, and kind of, I don't know if you went through this, but I know others that I've talked to kind of at some point they berate themselves like, why can't I just do this?
Hmm. Yeah, because definitely in the beginning, I was just like, I think I'm just meant to be like heavier. Like I don't feel like I could do this. So yeah, it was tough, but to go from there to where I am now, and I mean, I wouldn't, for the amount of time that it took, I mean, for me it was worth it.
Oh yeah, I love that. So the struggle really started about 15 years ago. Is that
Mm.
fair to say, or is it just more within the last 5, 10 years? It was really like on off trying to gun for it, or kind of what was that timeline like?
I think it did start 15 years ago, because you just, that's when, like I started getting like body dysmorphia, because even when it, I don't know, it was just the whole thing like in the beginning, and that leads to, the dieting and all that. So yeah, I would definitely say that's when it started.
Yeah, for sure. What have you tried in the past to kind of break that cycle?
Um, I tried, I've done a lot of like low carb. I tried Herbalife. I
Mm,
thought shakes were a big thing, like just drink two shakes in one big meal and then I'm good. And
mm,
Um, I kind of tried keto, not that well because I'm vegetarian. So it was, that's why I say it was more like just trying low carb.
okay.
Um, yeah, I think it was just that.
Okay, so kind of playing around with those diets, but they weren't really working out too well.
Yeah, yeah.
I am curious, why did you decide to, work with me? I'm sure you came across a bunch of different coaches throughout your life. So I'm curious, like, why did you decide to work with me?
Um, I think it was because you saw that it was more of like it was more of like a mental thing. And I also saw that you would talk a lot about like I just like that you didn't jump into like, okay, you're gonna eat 1,500 calories, you're gonna freaking like rip your body every day,
Yeah,
working much, and it was like I just felt like you put a lot of thought into your plan, and yeah, I mean that's what drew me in the most.
I love that. Yeah, definitely. For anyone that's not familiar, like if you enter the program, I'm not gonna have you run like walking miles, 6 miles a day, not trying to have you do the stairmaster every day, the bike or whatever other freaking personal trainers have you doing. Um, what would have been like the biggest roadblock for you to not have worked with me um, before starting?
I think it would have been financially probably.
Mhm.
I didn't like think too much about it, and I just thought it was like something else I had to pay for. Um, and um, Probably because it was like all online too. Because I
Mm,
just like it was going to be super hard and maybe not as beneficial as it would be for me to be face to face with someone or
yeah.
like doing work.
Do you
Yeah.
feel have you worked with a personal trainer before?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay. So it was more really trying coaching in general
Uh,
for the first time and not super sure about one, obviously the finances, and then second, like, is online even effective? Like, is this shit gonna work?
Yeah.
Um, what have you noticed with the online coaching that you feel like has worked really well for you?
Um, I feel like, well, the apps for sure, because I was just like, how am I gonna, I don't know how to count macros, do all this like stuff. That was like one of my main things that I always wanted to learn, like just how to, just how much I wanted to know how much I needed to eat because I never knew. So it was the app really did help. The check-ins also, and I think it helped me be more independent too. Like I just because I mean you were teaching me stuff, but I also had to like get creative and like find out some stuff on my own what worked for me instead
Yeah,
of having like structured thing where it's like eat this that, and that and that. So I think that helped a lot too. And then, I mean, I had a ton of questions, obviously. So you were always like answering them.
yeah, I love that. For anyone that doesn't know, everybody that works with me gets my personal number. So like this little thing, I don't have like an app. I do have different apps, but you get my personal number. But so you found a lot of value there with obviously having one the freedom to essentially have your own choices because being vegetarian for 15 years essentially it can be difficult, right, to
Yeah.
figure things out and make it kind of work for yourself.
Mhm,
um I know you mentioned like finances would have been another thing.
mhm.
How did you kind of end up making it happen in that aspect there?
So I just thought about how much I used to eat out and what it would equal in a week. And I would multiply that and divide it. And then it's just, if I was able to cut down on that, I knew I could do this.
Mm.
And
So pretty much allocated, kind of like, okay, this is usually what I spend on this, and like, let me just move things around, and this is what it is now.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Um, I do have one last question. Is there anything you'd say to anyone that's on the fence, thinking about reaching out for help that is maybe unsure, or maybe someone that is kind of in a similar position that you were, we'll say 6 months ago, even?
Mhm. Um, I would say, well, where I was, I didn't really know like I obviously, honestly, I don't really think I knew much about like nutrition and fitness. And I just think it's really worth it because it's like you're still learning this for the rest of your life. It's not like, oh, like you say, like you don't want it for the rest of my life. Like
Yeah,
doing this to show me how to do it and then, and then we go. But um yeah, I think the thing I talk about most is just like I just want a lot of knowledge. I just want to know like, just how to really do this and live my life like this. So I am not growing old and still confused and like super unhealthy. And yeah, so yeah, I think that's what I would say.
awesome. So pretty much investing in the skills that way you can carry it for the rest of your life, not just quick 1, 2, 3 months and then it's done.
Yeah, yeah.
I was as you were saying that, I'm like, I wonder where I've heard that before. So, Jay, I really appreciate you coming on here and kind of just sharing your story with everyone and walking us through kind of what that was like.
Mhm.
Um, are there any like parting thoughts, any final thoughts you want to share with anyone that is maybe watching now that you would want to say that you feel like we didn't touch on?
Um, just that it just 100% comes from you. Like this whole journey and everything, like you need to you need to really like take care of yourself and put yourself first sometimes in order to, help other people. Cause I don't know, I just feel like in doing this, like it's really changed me and motivated me. And yeah, that's all.
I am curious. Actually, I do have one last question. Um, that first month inside the program, what was that like for you? I'm curious there because the first month is always kind of like the biggest, we'll say the biggest change. So I'm curious, what was that first month for you like?
Um, I was just like, I just felt like I was all over the place. I thought I was never going to be able to track everything I ate. I never thought I would be able to be consistent with it. Um, I thought I could still eat like bad on the weekends and just eat good on during the week. And um yeah, the first month was like really hard. And it's because I also had this thing in my head where when I would start a diet, I would lose a bunch of weight really quick, and that's not what it is. So it was challenging, but that's why I'm saying like you just need to get over like those humps, because it's definitely worth it when you see like how much you changed and how much you could do, how much your body could do.
Yeah, it sounds it. You had like that self doubt a lot, especially that first month, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do you feel any of those thoughts anymore? Do you even feel like they're a problem now?
Um, no, I think I still like face challenges because like I'm I'm still like learning new things,
Yeah.
but they just come in and leave. Whereas before they would kind of like daunt on me, and I would just be thinking about it. And now it's more like, okay, just chill out. It's nothing crazy. Like ask your questions and, just keep going. Like every day you can make better decisions. And honestly, that's just like how I started getting through it.
I love that. Hell yeah. Jack, I really appreciate you sharing this with all of us. For anyone watching, we'll go ahead and actually, I have nothing to give you. I have nothing to offer you other than just wanted to highlight Jet's success within the program. But appreciate all of you watching. We'll go ahead and actually, I will not see you all next week because I'll be in Nicaragua, but you'll still get some content from me, get some value, some free trainings. But appreciate you all watching. Jet, thanks so much for coming on here today.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Let me go ahead and it's still live. And